It's a ways off, but Tokyo Game Show is going to be here sooner than you think. And I have some thoughts about what I'm interested in seeing and what we might see from some of the bigger companies. Let's get into it. But before I do, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell to know when my posts go live. Thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed. Trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, so I greatly appreciate it. But for the news is all about TGS. Basically, I went through their website and I was thinking to myself, you know what? I want to make a video where I sort of talk about what I think they're going to show, what I expect from TGS, and et cetera, et cetera. We already know that Xbox is going to be there, and hopefully by the time this conference happens, we get a dang release date for Crossfire X. Excuse me. We've been waiting to hear about that for a while. I would love to hear a release date for Scorn. Just updates on any of the Xbox properties would be great. Furthermore, if we get a look at how they're attempting to approach the Japanese market, we know that localization has been a big focus for the Xbox brand in Japan. We know Japan has really liked the Xbox Series S consoles. That's according to their own marketing, though. We don't have any data to back that up, unfortunately. But it sounds like things are going great over there. Better than expected anyway. So I would love to hear more about what they're doing in the Japan market to further strengthen their hold there. And I just want to hear more about your future games, because we know Halo and Forza are coming out at the end of the year. I don't really want to see more about those properties, to be honest, for TGS. Sure, if those are segments, whatever, but it's just kind of like, we're hype enough for those properties. One more media hit in September when Forza's coming out about a month later. Okay, sure. If you really need it, go for it. I don't think it's necessary during TGS. And I also don't know how well Halo sells in Tokyo. So to me, it might be an odd move, but whatever. What do I know? So Xbox, reiterate when your releases are coming. Crossfire X, just give me a date. Scorn, just give me a date. I just want to know about those two properties, okay? Some other companies that are there, though, and I got these from the TGS website, and these are the ones that jumped out to me. There's a lot of fighting game companies like Arc System Works and such that are going to be at TGS that I'm like, okay, yeah, it'll be a new BlazBlue or whatever, right? But the titles that interest me a little bit more are from somebody like Capcom. So sure, it would be great if there's a new Street Fighter, but their other properties are games like Monster Hunter, which seems like a really good fit for a show like TGS. I could imagine that TGS has some new Monster Hunter reveal, and that game is big there. It's big here in the US. And if there is going to be some new Monster Hunter World or a Monster Hunter World 2, I could imagine that being shown at TGS. I don't have any insider info. I'm just sort of talking about it. We could get an update about a new Resident Evil, or Biohazard as it's called over there. And potentially, I know they did DLC for the previous one, so maybe there's new content for the newest one. In, that game, people basically devoured it really quickly. So I could imagine that there could be new Resident Evil info at TGS, and it would be a good place to do it. I actually remember when I was at TGS and, Sony had a presence there. Sony not listed on the website from what I saw. It would be great if they also did anything in this period of time, but as far as I can tell, they're not present. But anyway, I remember watching Kojima talk about Death Stranding on stage, talk about PT on stage. And I think when at IGN, we filmed like off screen of them doing their presentations. So that was really neat. And I would love more of that, but yeah. So I sort of went off on a tangent because Resident Evil made me think about PT. But anyway, the other title, it would be great if Capcom brought back something like Dino Crisis, or even just did a massive update to Dino Crisis. It's a game that people have called for a long time. And I, for one, would love to see it. Now, let's go over to Square Enix for a second, because Square Enix is one of the other big games there. First of all, I think we hear more about Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's one of Square's biggest properties. I have to imagine it has at least some sort of mention at the show. But another big property that has just a long-standing fan base is Final Fantasy XIV. TGS has always been a great place to showcase any new Final Fantasy XIV content, or just show it off one more time. So I want to say it's Endwalker is the name of the segment. I don't remember off the top of my head, but Final Fantasy 14, the new content expansion, would be a really, really great thing to showcase there, because it's you're speaking directly to your audience, right? And the US market is also super into Final Fantasy 14. So it's kind of like win-win. You don't lose if you talk about Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 16, however, that is a definite win no matter where you talk about it. I actually hope that that's at the Sony Showcase happening. Well, I'm recording this on Tuesday, so that would happen by Thursday, right? I would love to see more about Final Fantasy 16. I want to see a little bit of gameplay. I want to see what they're doing with that property. I believe we've only seen one asset, and I'm already really excited for the game. I want to see more, though. Other titles that are listed on at least the Square Wikipedia include Dying Light 2. So they must be, I believe they're publishing that game. So, you know, zombies and stuff like that seem to be presented a lot during TGS, so it must be a genre that people like. Dying Light 2 would fit in really good there. But the other property that I almost forgot about before recording this video was Forspoken. Now, we actually haven't seen a lot about Forspoken. The developer came out and talked about Fidelity FX and how they're pushing towards 4K 60 FPS for the game. The game is all about speed, traversal, movement, and just keeping things going, right? So a Forspoken presentation at TGS, it seems sort of like a no-brainer and a good opportunity for Sony, for Square Enix, for everybody to remind people that, hey, Forspoken's coming along quite well. Here's some gameplay. Here's how the systems are going to work. And they've done that at a few PlayStation events. I have to imagine that TGS would be another beat on that game's path. I believe it's set for 2022 right now. So more about Forspoken would be great. But largely, looking at what is expected at TGS, the event looks light. There is, of course, an opening ceremony, which they'll probably do stuff. There's probably a few beats where they're going to be able to present things, but TGS has had a smaller and smaller event over the years, or at least fewer and fewer announcements. So I hope this year's different. I hope I'm right and they actually do show a lot of new, interesting things to get fans excited. And I would love to see at least these companies, Capcom, Square, Xbox, and anything from Sony that ends up on the floor. Like Forspoken, if that ends up on Square, that's still a Sony title. But if Xbox just has their booth and they're able to do all their stuff, like I want to know what Sony's working on and I want to know what Xbox is working on. And maybe if all the God of War stuff is true, we also get a peek at God of War that somehow gets in there during the opening ceremonies or something. But anyway, that's sort of future looking. I'm just looking at the site and I'm thinking, well, what should we expect in September? Some Xbox news for sure. And some stuff is going on at TGS. Those are my guesses. What do you think will be there? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. If you like these sort of videos, I really appreciate it. Trying to get to 100,000 subscribers this year. What else? Oh, memberships are turned on. If you want to support this channel, you can do so by clicking that join button for memberships. Thank you to everybody who has become a member thus far. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you for the next one, everybody. Bye for now.